Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I'm talking to you about Heart of Silence from the Spain-based project At the Altar of the Horned God, and this is coming out of I Void Hanger Records. And At the Altar of the Horned God is a very unique and singular black metal vision from a musician who goes by the name Hjolstor. And At the Altar of the Horned God definitely takes the understood black metal conventions, but then decides to push the boundaries of the genre in ways that some may find peculiar. But I am one of those that is embracing the freed sheer weirdness of this thing and honestly finding it completely magical. Heart of Silence is an album that is definitely black metal in aesthetics and riffs and vocal styles, and all of the components are here. But there's also presented this dark ambience. There's some neofolk adventures, definitely some pagan elements, and even a bit of neoclassical thrown in. It's really a mystical listening experience. The music here and just how it's presented feels like this twisted ceremony, really stirring something occultic and nightmarish. This is a dark, dark album, which could be redundant in describing black metal, but this is a different type of dark. It's dark in the most elemental and physical ways. Listen begins with this circling and processional percussion. It's stomping and heavy-handed, and it's met with these scathing chants that roll forward in these mystifying loops. It doesn't take long for this record to become overwhelmingly hypnotic. It takes about a minute and a half of this stripped down minimalism before the guitars come in, and they come in the form of these bleak, tinny strums that kind of pulsate in a bewitching way. And while all of this is happening so intensely, we're also introduced to these remorseful melodies that kind of float in the background, and they just are delivered with so much emotion. This music isn't just avant-garde. There is a deep passion oozing out of this record. Closing Circle has a more spacey, ambient approach. The atmosphere is intoxicating, to say the least. These gothy leaning clean vocals are used to introduce some supremely corrupted black metal vocals from Hjolstor. These streaks are, I don't know, the streaks and the vocals that are coming out of Hjolstor's mouth are delivered with such an extremity that I can't comprehend in a way that I'm somewhat convinced that an actual demonic being is in fact being summoned. There's also a more melodic post-punk inspired bridge with these harmonies that enchant me so effortlessly. Now, of course, this album isn't void of understood black metal formulas. No, and you get a taste of that on the title track as it starts with these blasting black metal tremolos that are delivered with such a fury, but ends up leading into this marriage of distorted, somber strums and kind of an industrial hum. The vocals possess this ritualistic searching for something outside of itself, and does that by seamlessly switching between these scathing, harsh vocals and these morose cleans. With the drums, you get more of a conventional percussion here. There is room for that on this album, and it definitely was a presence here as it jolts forward constantly and gives the track its energy it needs, while the rest of the track is given its space and time to exist and be impressionistic. Chthonic summoning does in fact feel like something's being summoned. There is this intensity that continues to build throughout the track. There is this budding nature to the cut. From the very start of the track, there is this tension that won't be resolved but continues to feel gradually more and more constricting and fragile. The anticipation that you will feel during this track is one that, at the altar of the horned god, refuses to remedy for you. And that comes across here so thrilling, and it's executed to perfection. Guardian of the Threshold is this strange interlude. It sounds like, I believe, maybe a harpsichord and these swelling synths. The ambience here continuously feels more grand and sweeping. It's as if you're being called forward and you can't resist what you are being led into, until finally you are met with these utterly nightmarish howls. It's so fucking cool. Anointed with Fire features these layered dual guitars and menacing blast on the drums. Don't be tempted to believe and write this off as if with all the other elements that the ferocity and the heaviness and the metal is being neglected at all, because it for sure is not. One of the most moving and resonant, clean vocals on the album sits on also one of the album's most blistering metal passages, and the contrast is perplexing in the most exceptional ways. The way this moment makes me feel when hearing it, I don't know. I can't describe the feeling, but it makes me feel something, and I promise it will make you feel something as well. One of the more surprising moments on the album, creatively wise, is this cover, a fantastic cover of the industrial EBM act Suicide Commando. And it fits very well in the context of the record and where it's placed. I feel as if the attitude and the textures were already in the original of this track. At the Altar of the Horned God just had to grim and ice it up a bit. Severing Light, the closing track here, brings those percussion patterns from the opener back as a nice sort of bookend for the record, while these singing dark chant hybrid vocals are very intoxicating on top. Some particularly sparse but chilling synths kind of bubble around in the background here, just enough to be effective, but not too much, because the desired effect is to allow the vocals and the percussion to be the driving force here. But everything reaches this climax, this peak. Everything approaches and lands on this massive emotional moment. These affecting, whispering synths and these snarled vocals have such a compelling and believable pain to them. It's so moving and packed with feeling. At the altar of the horned god saved one of, if not the best moments on the album for the very end, the conclusion of the last track. And then it just kind of ends. It doesn't give any space for you to absorb it. It just demands that you start the record all over again from the beginning to experience this journey again. It's perfect in how they do that. Heart of Silence is simply an enthralling interpretation of black metal. It might not be for everyone, but it greatly rewards those who are patient and gives it a go. This record possesses such a mystery and an allure. It's dark and absolutely spellbinding, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. And those are my thoughts. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, why don't you hit the like button? I would appreciate it greatly. Helps get videos out there. If you'd be so kind, it would mean the world to me to have you subscribe. It really helps with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. I have a Twitter you can follow. I got a link to that in the bio of this YouTube channel. Leave a comment. I love engaging with those. It also helps kind of push the video out there and get new people into this little community we're building here. I have a Ko-Fi if you are interested in supporting the channel financially some way, but under no circumstances should you feel obligated or do I expect that from anybody. It's just an option. And hey, keep it metal. My name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh, signing off.